Everything new under the sun here. Got an excellent prophecy update. Very exciting. This is about Gog Magog. Ezekiel 38 we're talking about. Just want to read the first portion here, the first paragraph of Ezekiel 38. And this is about Gog. The word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, set your face against Gog, of the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. Prophesy against him and say, This is what the sovereign Lord says, I am against you, Gog, chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. I will turn you around, put hooks in your jaws, and bring you out with your whole army, your horses and your horsemen fully armed, and a great horde with large and small shields, all of them brandishing their swords. Persia, Cush, and Put will be with them, all with shields and helmets, also Gomer with all its troops, and Beth Togarmah from the far north with all its troops, the many nations with you. So this is the big verse about the hook in the jaw of the northern nations, Russia, and along with them come Persia, which is Iran, which is there, and Put, I think, is Libya, and of course China is also in Syria right now. So I want to look at an article here. This is at the end of the AmericanDream.com website. Will the discovery of huge amounts of oil in Israel lead to war in the Middle East? That's the question. So the big thing is that they just found more oil in on the Golan Heights. They had found oil, natural gas, and oil, I believe, called the Goliath, the Leviathan. I think that's what it's called in the Mediterranean, just off the coast of Israel. And now we're finding out that they just found lots of oil in the Golan. So let's have a look at this article here. Billions of barrels of oil have been discovered in Israel, and this discovery could essentially make Israel energy independent for decades to come. And they were saying that already about the Leviathan gas field. Sorry, I can't talk. But there's just one problem. This discovery was made in the Golan Heights. If you're not familiar with the Golan Heights, is an area that Israel took from Syria during the Six-Day War in '67. The government of Israel considers the Heights to now be part of Israel territory because they won it in war. The rules of war is that if you win the war, you get to keep the land, basically. If you're not the instigator, I think it is, and you win it, you get to keep the land that you've taken. But the United Nations does not recognize Israel's claim. Instead, the UN still recognizes Syrian sovereignty over the area, which is against international law. So now the massive amounts of oil have been discovered there. What will this do to tensions in the region? So now Syria is going to fight with Israel because they both claim sovereignty over the area. And in Syria, obviously, you've got Russia with troops and planes and tanks and everything. Now there's Chinese troops in the area, as well as Bashar Assad getting real brave with his troops and fighting there against ISIS, obviously, right now. Is this the hook in the jaw that really says, okay, now Bashar Assad maybe says, I need to rebuild Syria now that Russia's helped me clean out ISIS. Now I need money, and they're going to want to capture this. The news is 3 drillings have so far taken place in southern Golan Heights, which have found large reserves of oil. Potential production is dramatic, billions of barrels, which will provide all Israel's oil needs. Israel consumes 270,000 barrels of oil per day. Although the existence of the oil field in the ground is a fact, the critical phase now is to check how easily it can be extracted and whether it involves high production costs. In a period of very low oil prices, extraction will be relatively cheap to make exploitation of the field profitable. Extraction will have to be relatively cheap. Just as Israel's offshore Mediterranean, the Leviathan gas field discoveries have created an entire energy industry, so the Golan oil find could also generate new industry around it. Oil's trading about $48. But the interesting bit here is, is it going to cause war and cause Russia to turn around in the Middle East, and once they're done with ISIS, and they've been wiping out ISIS over the last week or 2 weeks or whatever it's been, since I think October 1st actually, just over a week, and they've completely wiped out ISIS in terms of bombarding them. So could this bring a war to the Middle East? This is a huge potential because of the sovereignty claims on that land. Obviously, Israel won it fair and square in war, but Syria doesn't abide by international rules, and obviously the UN doesn't abide by international rules either. So we looked at the hook in the jaw, and this could easily be it. Russia will come down to take the spoil, and you take the SPF spoil and you get oil out of it. So this is just fascinating news, and Russia wants to control the energy sector, and China is energy hungry, and so they would want to find this, and they're cooperating with Syria. So if they're friends to Syria, they're going to want to go along with Syria and say, yeah, that's part of Syria's land, and then they can take that and pay Syria a cheap price for it or whatever, whereas discussing with Israel may be a different thing. So war in the Middle East, yes, we're going to see it, and this could be the start of it.